Neptune Reef guy here. As I promised, I wanted to show you my new build on my tank. Just kind of going through the different parts and what I've upgraded and kind of what I decided to do on my tank that I didn't have on my old tank. I guess one of the first things that I wanted to kind of hit on is, and what I talked about in my video previously, was getting cheap equipment. Cheap equipment doesn't last very long. You can have a lot of problems with it. I understand the want to get cheaper stuff. When I started out in the hobby, I got a really cheap, like 65-gallon protein skimmer, and that thing crapped out on me so fast. Like it was very inefficient, and I can't even remember the brand because it's been years. But after that happened, I decided, as my cheap equipment failed, I decided to kind of upgrade my equipment on my tank, and I pulled some of that over, and I went ahead and I got a Reef Octopus. You can see back here, right here, that I've got a Reef Octopus protein skimmer, and it's doing a pretty good job. On this sump pump, I decided to run with filter socks. I've used filter socks for years. This sump, which I built entirely, this is a 40-gallon breeder, and I went on eBay and I bought a sump package kit, and I caulked all this in and installed all this, these flanges here with aquarium rated silicone sealant. Use silicone. Silicone is structural, and it's a really good type of sealant. Don't use urethanes and don't use acrylics. If you're going to do it, make sure to use a silicone sealant. And they make special sealants just for aquariums, and it's safer for the fish and doesn't contain all the silicas and stuff that some of the other types of sealants that you can get have, because some sealants are more rated towards building and not towards underwater use and for marine life. So anyways, aquarium sealant. I went ahead and I did get a UV sterilizer. It is running. You can see it right here. This is a UV pond sterilizer. I didn't get, like I said, it's not a cheap one. It's more of like a mid-level one. You can get like the aquarium UV sterilizers, and they're $600-700, and that's really expensive. A little too expensive for me. But I did put it's not the greatest, but it had really good reviews, and it's probably like $80. So I didn't want to get one of them ones that you put in like a little freshwater tank, and it's got like a little 5-watt bulb. This one's an 18-watt. You can unscrew it right here, pull it out, pull the bulb out, and replace the bulb. It is replaceable. I did all of my own piping. I didn't do red and or gray or any of the special colors that some guys will do. Mine, I just went to Lowe's and I got PVC, and I went and I fitted it all, and I did use primer on these. I've been in construction a long time, and I know to prime pipes, it's best to prime your pipes and not just glue them. You can develop leaks if you don't prime it. That primer helps to eat away, when you cut your pipes, it helps to eat away all that nastiness that can be on that, those flakes. When you cut the pipe, it'll flake off, and the primer really helps to eat that and make sure that when you glue all your pipes together, that it just fits really well, and it helps to make sure that the glue spreads around the pipe. It's a pretty impressive way that they've done it nowadays, like with your primer and your glues, and it works pretty well. I use just a medium grade cement glue that's clear, so it's not blue. I love the blue stuff, but blue would be kind of ugly because I know you'd see a bunch of blue everywhere. I went ahead and I just got it's a JCB pump. It's a 2500, and I think that it moves you can do it. It's a DC pump, so it can scale up and down. You can scale it up and down. I do have this pump running and feeding my main aquarium up top, and it also feeds into my UV stabilizer here, and I have a control valve that helps me to kind of dictate the pressure and what's going back into this. What I've seen and what I've learned throughout the years, and some of the biggest mistakes, is we just want to get the biggest pump that we can, and we want to run water through here as fast as we can and cycle it back into the tank. That is not a good method. And I see, like, that's something when I started out, that was a problem I had, where I just wanted to hook in the biggest pump and just cycle the water as fast as I can. That's not a great method, because when you do that, you don't really allow yourself, for your equipment when you have it down here, to actually process and filter out the pollutants that build up in your tank. And so when you allow a pretty nice flow to come through here, you're giving your system time to actually filter out the contaminants, rather than just rushing it through and rushing it right back up into your filtrations, or up into your tank. And when I set up my power heads, there's a specific amount of turnover that I want in my tank up top. And this is something that I feel like a lot of videos on YouTube do not hit on, is how to adequately set up your pumps so that you're circulating the right amount of water for the right thing that you're trying to do. So like if you're just wanting to run fish, you only need a power head that circulates like 10 times the volume of your water. If you're trying to do like a mixed reef tank, you want to circulate about like a 20 times the amount of your water if it's like soft, some hard coral. And then if you have like full hard coral, you got to have a lot of flow. And I feel that a lot of newcomers, when they come in, when we're searching on videos, no one ever really hits on this type of stuff. No one really ever, like, we kind of look and see who's got the biggest equipment or the nicest equipment and stuff. And, we kind of talk about that, but we don't really talk about like what its use is. How fast do we really want our flow to go through our sump? I have this pretty slow. It's probably, for a 110 gallon tank plus 30 gallons down here below, I'm probably turning my water over 4 times. So I'm probably moving 400 to 500 gallons through this sump every hour, which is more than adequate. That's a lot of water movement, and it also allows time for my system to actually filter out the stuff. I did add a refugium because my tank is so new. I can't put any algae in there right now. It needs time to create the nitrates and create the pollutants. Right now my system is more than capable of removing all the bad stuff, but as I start to add more fish and I start to add more stuff to my tank, and my tank ages and my dry rock becomes live rock, and I'm making a lot more nitrates and stuff, I will eventually add a refugium down here. I'm also going to do biomatter or biomedia. It's a new type of stuff that they've kind of developed. It wasn't around when I started in the hobby, and I kind of saw it on some videos and I thought it was really cool. And I'll put it down here. But basically it's cubes of live rock that have a lot more inches. Like it equals more than what your live rock up in your upper tank is. And so when I do that, and I finally get that, I'll put that in here and I'll show you how I do that. But you can see here I do have it's an NT 110 protein skimmer. I got a pump. I'm running 3 filter socks. I have a UV sterilizer up. I don't really need the UV sterilizer, but it'll help with dinos and make sure that my tank water stays relatively clear. I have it set really low. This thing, every minute it's probably dumping 1 to 2 gallons of water back into the sump, while this is moving, 11 gallons a minute or whatever it's rated for. I'm not really moving a whole ton of water. I'm trying to let the system filter and do what it needs to do. But those are just a couple tips. I bought a strip here, and I'll eventually put my pumps on timers. I guess what I need to do is more so equate these videos towards doing it on a budget, but doing it like the right way. Like, you don't have to go and break the bank, but you don't want to get too cheap of equipment. where you're just miserable, or you go and you spend $100 on a cheap protein skimmer when you could have just went ahead and just bought a better protein skimmer that's going to last you and not really give you all the problems for an extra $100. You've got to make those decisions. I'm not saying go and buy a $800 protein skimmer, but you can size your equipment and get better equipment where it's not just going to break down on you, because like I said in my video previously, you're going to spend thousands of dollars on fish and stuff that goes into, like, you want to spend the money on the fish, but if you don't take the time to put proper equipment in, you're going to lose your fish. And so kind of what I'm just here to help is to help you, or whoever sees this video that may be a newcomer, to not just, it's exciting, it's fun. I spent over a month and a half setting up this tank. So what you're seeing right now, this is a month and a half of work just to set it up. I took my time. I took my time on the plumbing. I took my time kind of designing it, the way that everything kind of filters in. I took my time with it, and did not rush it, because it's so easy to rush. You're so excited, you just want to jump in, and you're gonna lose everything, and you'll be really upset. And I know what that's like, because I have lost a lot of stuff along the way. And so just take your time, do your research, look at the equipment. Don't just go and get the cheapest stuff you can. You're gonna put really expensive fish in here, and you don't have to have the most maximum amount of water flow. You don't have to. There's ways around it, and I'll show you how I'm gonna set up my pump system so that you don't have to buy all those controller boxes and expensive stuff. You can do it on a budget, and you can do it the right way, and you can do it affordable way. So anyways, this is Neptune Reef Guy, and I'm out.